Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 2008 Koenigsegg CCGT. Now this was built to compete in FIA GT Championship, specifically the GT1 class, and it was based on the production CC model range, and more precisely the CCX, which is also on this game. And it has carbon fibre monocoque chassis, carbon fibre body panels, a fixed rear wing, rear diffuser, front splitter, and now it has bang on 50-50 weight distribution, whereas the CCX only had 45%, 55% front rear split. And it's also had its notable doors reduced to normal doors, probably to keep in with regulations. Interior's been completely stripped out. You've got your fire extinguisher system in there, and your roll cage, and your racing seat for all the safety regulations as well. And it's a reduced in terms of power as well to again meet regulations. Unfortunately we can't look at the engine, but yeah, it's now a 5 litre V8 up from the 4.7 litre in the CCX, but now it has no turbo, no superchargers, so that means it's got 610 horsepower and 442 pounds-feet of torque. So that's a 196 horsepower reduction in power and 236 pounds-feet of torque reduction in torque. So fairly hefty amount of reduction in power there, but it's necessary for it to have met the regulations. But in retrospect to that, it does weigh 512 pounds less than the CCX at 2,425 pounds. So that's a severe weight reduction, and combine that weight reduction with all the additional aerodynamic improvements and the improvements in terms of handling, in terms of suspension and brakes, and you got easily one of the best race cars from back in the day. Unfortunately, the regulations were suddenly changed for GT1 class, meaning that cars that were to compete had to have 350 road cars per year produced for them to be able to compete, which Koenigsegg certainly couldn't match, because the CCX in all its different forms only managed 49 units made. So yeah, they were never going to be able to make 350 of these. It was just far too much of a big task for them. So yeah, unfortunately all this hard work went to waste really, and as far as I know this is the only one that is out there. So nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this unfortunately failed race car can do. Now I say failed in the aspect that it never got off the ground and never was able to compete, but I have no doubt in my mind that if this did actually compete, this would have been a car to beat, quite frankly, because it's got superb handling. Now granted, like a lot of cars that have, big rear wings, front splitters and diffusers and the like, it does rely on you actually having a lot of speed on the go, because as you saw then when we set off, it did try and spin out. So yeah, you do have to try and catch it at lower speeds, but the quicker you go, the more handling you have, which is always a good reason to go quick. And you really are going to go quick, because with 610 horsepower on tap and 442 pounds-feet of torque, which I know is a lot less than the standard version, the CCX, but in a car that weighs so little and has this amount of handling, it's more than enough. And because it does weigh so little, it's actually quicker than the CCX in terms of acceleration. 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, 0 to 100 in 6 seconds, and it'll do 204 miles an hour. Now granted, that top speed is less because of all the aerodynamic downforce enhancements, because obviously the CCX can do 241, but yeah, that's 0.3 of a second, no, 0.5 a second quicker to 60, and 0.8 of a second quicker to 100. So yeah, in terms of pure acceleration, this is phenomenal, quite frankly. And again, 11 years ago, to get 610 horsepower out of a naturally aspirated 5 litre V8 is also really rather impressive as well. So it's a great shame that this never became a successful race car, because I can imagine it being just that if it had been given the chance. But yeah, unfortunately the regulations have been changed to more favour, car companies that have more money and more popular cars to sell than these do. So unfortunately those regulations did kind of price out smaller companies like this. You can see why they did it though, so it means that no company can just pile in a load of money into just one single car and then just have it racing, but it also had the effect of ruining the chances of smaller car companies like this. But yeah, at least we get to experience this car in some form on this game, even if we can't see it racing out on a track. But yeah, it would be nice to have this on a track-orientated racing game, like one of the Forza Motorsport games, because yeah, that's where this car will be at home most. But it still works really rather well here, and yeah, you can blast around corners at more than 180 mile an hour without having to really slow down or even think about it, because it handles so brilliantly when you have a lot of speed on the go. So yeah, highly recommend getting it. It is part of the current festival playlist for spring, which, you know, means you haven't got long to get it, but it is only at the 50% mark for the festival playlist for this spring season. So yeah, you don't have to do much to get it. Only took me about an hour or so to get the required 50%. So yeah, it's more than worth it, as it's a cracking vehicle. And yeah, another great Koenigsegg to be added to the game after we've had the likes of the CC8S and the CCX, and you know, Agera RS and the Agera itself, and all of those other cars. It's really been one of the best games for Koenigsegg in any Forza game ever. So yeah, really pleased it's on the game, and yeah, like I said, give it a go, because you will enjoy it, because I'm not a massive fan of racing cars in general, but this, yeah, is so good that it beats any of my expectations or reservations about normal race cars. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.